You are looking at the Salem Civic Center, and the Tommies on the far side cutting down the nets. They will be on the near side cutting down the net here soon enough as they are celebrating their second Division III men's basketball championship in their third trip in 6 years to Salem. They will walk away with a second championship as they defeat the previously undefeated Benedictine Eagles. The Eagles finally get their wings clipped by the Tommies. Of course, the Tommies had to go through one heck of a run to even get to this opportunity. Had to beat some really darn good teams along the way. They certainly deserve this championship. They earned it. And hats off to the Eagles as well. We will see that team in a minute behind us cutting down the nets. As welcome into post-game coverage here on Hoopsville. Not sure how long we'll go, but we'll try and break down the game a little bit for you here as we get ready to wrap up the 2016 portion of this season. I am Dave McHugh, now joined by Mr. Pat Coleman.
I thought about just doing a mic drop and walking off.
That would have been funny.
And never coming back.
That would have been pretty good.
Yeah,
welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, outstanding effort by St. Thomas, who are cutting down the nets on the far side. Coach Tower now climbing the ladder to go cut down the last strand on that net. They do realize there's a whole nother net on this side.
Yeah, and our shot is better for that.
I would love to have them do it. I will get out of the way so they can see it. We have had tremendously good basketball here in Salem, as I think we expected, but feared may not happen, because that always happens. You always hope for good games, and they don't necessarily develop, but we got good games. And hats off to the Tommies, who had to defeat a number 1 team, a number 4 team, and a number 2 team in the last 3 games just to do this. By the way, my condolences to Augustana. You have lost your last game of the season the last 3 years to Whitewater, Stevens Point, St. Thomas. The last 3 national champions took out Augustana on their way to championships. I saw Gray Giovanni. He reminded me of that one earlier today. But overall, Pat, I mean, the Tommies just got out there.
Was his coat on when he said that?
Yeah, it was actually wearing his jacket.
Hadn't taken his coat off yet? Did he take his coat off during the NABC All-Star game?
No, I think he relaxed during it, amazingly enough. Hunter Hill was hitting shots until I talked to him, so I'm now his jinx. Luckily, his season is over for my sake. But, I mean, hats off to the Tommies. Just, man, they found ways to do things. They got to break down tape better than anybody else I know. I mean, they certainly stopped the Eagles from getting extra rebounds. They out-rebounded the Eagles. I don't know if there's anybody in the country who could say they did that to Benedictine this year. I'd have to go back through about 31 box scores to determine that. They
go back and get those game notes. Actually, keep talking. I'll reach across your shot.
But, there's what they did this weekend and what they did in this tournament after losing the conference. And here's the interesting dichotomy of this whole matchup. St. Thomas lost the conference tournament game. They would have had the bye had they won that. Benedictine would have ended up, having a full pot at their place. That gets switched, and it ends up St. Thomas winning it all after losing their conference title game. It may have motivated them. They didn't play tremendously well against Central, but then they finally figured things out and went on a tear.
To answer the question, Benedictine had been out-rebounded one other time this season in the win against North Central back before the holiday.
And Illinois Wesleyan in the very first game got them. They beat them by only 2. By 5. It wasn't
points by 2. That was the closest win of the season, along with the North Central game.
And interestingly enough, it takes a bit of a awkward, unbalanced shot by Luke Johnson in that Illinois Wesleyan game. Right. We're not even talking about getting here.
Buzzer beater.
To get here undefeated. By the way, hats off if you didn't hear in the last broadcast, Luke Johnson, Player of the Year. I think it was something we were leaning towards in the first place, but I really wanted to see what he did in the championship game. And while the team didn't win, 21 points, 11 rebounds, handed out a number of assists, certainly had a very good game against probably some of the best big men he's played against, and that's nothing against some of those guys in the CCIW, but Sorella was having a good game, made up for yesterday. Montero came over and challenged him. Ball certainly gave him a hard time.
Yeah, and Ogren didn't play a lot and didn't play great
and Ogren is mainly on Reamer.
But he was part of that work at that teamwork on the inside against him as well.
Yeah, it was. Johnson had certainly a very good game. In it all, man, 3 for 5 from beyond the arc. Hit a couple big shots that kind of just keep his team within within arm's distance. But St. Thomas, nice job of keeping the Eagles within arm's distance. They made a nice run there at the end. They had that spurt where about 6-0 run or something to kind of close the gap.
Kind of close it down to 2, 73-71.
Then made a couple just bad decisions. I don't want to knock them necessarily, but Dotson drove the lane at one point when really they needed a better looking shot, forced the issue a couple times. They're down 6 with 14 seconds left. Dotson drives the lane and puts up a layup. Well, Tommies are happy to give that up. It doesn't change the 2-possession ballgame. They really needed a 3-point look there first. So unfortunately, I think maybe finally the inexperience of being in this situation showed up, but I don't know if that's necessarily an accurate statement.
I mean, and I think that's as much too, not just inexperience at the top level, but Harvey being in foul trouble and not being in the game at that point too. Benedictine doesn't have the ball in Dodson's hands at that point if Harvey's in the game.
Yeah, Harvey is certainly a much better ball handler and thinker than Dotson. Dotson's great, but he had a bad weekend, to be blunt.
Well,
he didn't really have a great weekend here.
Well, and so he's a senior, and Johnson's a senior, and Reamer off the bench is a senior. There's a good opportunity for them to do something noisy again next year too. Yeah. But Johnson obviously going to be a
losing
huge
Johnson's going to hurt. They've got some talent inside that can cultivate maybe. They're going to be a little bit of a different team, but Coach Munkinberg is going to do a nice job. Coach Munkinberg said even in a loss, he said this before, you heard it on our pregame show, even in a loss, they can't hang their heads, and they can't. Is this frustrating? Does this hurt? Oh, you bet it does. Get all the way to the championship game undefeated and not pull it off. This is going to sting. You can call Connecticut College. You got to the semifinals in '99 and talk it over with them, but
they've never come back.
Yeah,
that is a one-and-done team program.
They've kind of shown some resurgence in the last couple of years, but they're in a tough NESCAC now. Of course, UW-Platteville the last time he went undefeated. Bo Ryan, I think, had something. I've heard he was a pretty good coach before he retired.
Bo Ryan, I remember him from my very first Final Four.
Yeah, 98, I think, he was good.
98 and 99, back-to-back championships, his third and fourth championship. Then he went off to UW-Milwaukee. He was there for like 5 minutes, and then he went to some other school in Wisconsin. I forget.
It's going to be a weird question. I don't know if it's necessarily accurate. I think Coach Tower has certainly not been under a Steve Fritz shadow necessarily, but he certainly has emerged from anything in particular. He has put his foot clearly on the program a long time ago, but he's put his stamp on it now with this ring.
Yeah, I think so too. It was really just the last piece that he needed, right?
Yeah.
He's went to the Final Four as a player, went to the Final Four as a very, very involved assistant coach, not just the guy who's checking the timeouts.
No, he was running the offense.
Yes, exactly. And now a ring of his own. This is he's a young guy. He's my age.
I don't think he's going to retire like Fritz did after the last championship.
No, I don't think so. And if you're Steve Fritz now too, just to see your protege, a guy who you molded, come and make his school look good too, make his athletic department look good too. This is a big day for Steve Fritz, although I know he will be very happy to not talk about it and be completely way back in the shadows while Tower and his staff, his voluminous staff.
Yeah, he's got a lot of them, doesn't he?
Mike Keating, John Hughes, Jay Pivick, Tim Jarmus, Alex McCoy, Josh Rodenbiker. Yeah, those guys.
You almost read it as fast as he did off the top of his head earlier in the pregame. That was pretty impressive.
Well, if nothing else, I had to say Jay Pivick's name.
Yeah.
He's a long-time junior college coach in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area.
We'll put a lot of elements together from here for the tomorrow night's Hoopsville show, which will be primarily from here.
Look who's getting to cut the net down. The Salem Civic Center staff is going to unlace this net.
It's not. By the way, it's not unheard of. I've actually seen. I think the last couple of years they have not cut that net down. But hey, you know what? That gives you a nice full-forming net to put over the trophy when you. By the way, we should point out no trophy for Benedictine this year. They went to 4 sectional trophies for everybody. Nice touch. So you kind of have the sectional trophy. You don't have a runner-up, but minor touch.
Well, I think that this happens too, Dave. It's not only that everybody gets a trophy at a time that they're happy to celebrate, right?
Yeah.
The national champ does, and the 4 teams that win their sectionals to go to the Final Four get that trophy when they're happy. We're not keeping Benedictine out here,
which they have in the past,
right? Up until this year, to pick up a runner-up trophy
and the participation trophies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're keeping them at bay. So a nice touch though.
And Benedictine could just leave St. Thomas could enjoy itself, and it wasn't as awkward.
So the press conferences are ongoing as we speak, so there's not much we can grab, but we'll try and just break down this season a little bit more, and obviously we'll have a lot more coverage tomorrow night on Hoopsville when we get a chance to actually talk to a lot of those involved in the game. But Pat, this was a very even, very parity-filled season. Yes, we had Augustana, who is a dominating name and a force. You had teams like St. Thomas we knew would be good. At one point, maybe only the top team everybody was comfortable with. Then it became the top 5 they were comfortable with. Maybe it moved into the top 5 to 10 area somewhere. Then there was a gap, and then there was everybody else.
Yep.
And we saw a lot of parity in the tournament. Benedictine was able to survive that parity and prove themselves. St. Thomas, Christopher Newport, and Amherst. But it's amazing how much I don't think that leaves next year. I think we got a lot more parity coming back next year.
Well, it's interesting. As I go back and look at the All-American team, there are a lot of underclassmen, more underclassmen on here than usual.
Yeah.
Sometimes at these 25 guys, you've probably got 22 seniors. And we have 3 underclassmen just in the first 2 teams alone, 4, 5, 6, 7. And a lot of other players who were right on the cusp who could have been All-Americans as well. Who are coming back. So I think it'll be interesting to see what next year looks like. This too, though, Dave. When we left here last year, right? Augustana had played a very hard-fought national championship game against Wisconsin-Stevens Point, and they had all of those juniors coming back to be seniors. Even though this year turned out to be, really competitive at the top.
Yeah, sure.
We still had a feeling coming into the season, well, Augustana is the heir apparent. They're the clear number 1 coming into the season. And they played like it for, 20 weeks.
Yeah, no, they really did.
They lost 1 game.
Lost a game to Elmhurst in overtime at their place.
At their place.
And then lost to St. Thomas. And that's not a bad season whatsoever.
Nope.
Now, there will be teams that from here that we're going to be talking about next year. Amherst pretty much brings everybody back. Yes, they lose Connor Green. They lose Ben Pollock, who really didn't play due to injury. They bring everybody else back. Christopher Newport will lose a guy like Ben Watkins, certainly, who brought a lot of fire and heart and soul to the team and emotion. They pretty much bring everybody back, including the Conference Player of the Year, who's just a sophomore. St. Thomas will lose 5 seniors, but Tommy's been known to find talent underneath and
come
reload.
Back.
After all this, will lose a few. I don't know if they can get back here with the talent they lose, but they're going to be darn good again. And then there's everybody else who was in the tournament. A lot of those teams bring back talent.
Yeah, and as many times as St. Thomas has graduated players, they've still won the MIAC regular season title 11 years in a row. So as much as now it's incumbent on the rest of the MIAC. St. Olaf, they lose Ben Fagini. That's a huge blow, right? And Concordia loses Bolger and that sort of thing. But that was a pretty deep conference. Bethel is pretty good, right? Carleton's pretty good. Augsburg made a nice little run there. The MIAC always comes out gunning for St. Thomas pretty much in every sport. It will be no different next year. St. Thomas is going to have to, Grant Schaefer is going to have to kick butt next year. Ryan Bull is going to have to take a bigger role. Even the top 2 guys off the bench, though, Remke and Ogren, they were seniors as well. So it will be a retooling, if nothing else.
It'll be interesting to see how everybody kind of rebuilds. But there's going to be a team like Ohio Wesleyan who brings back good talent. There's going to be a team. Benedictine, by the way, I wanted to bring up, NECC, not a conference. They're stuck in the Central, which is jam-packed with good teams. Aurora had a pretty good season this year. Of course, they would have been a little more recognized if Benedictine wasn't having such a great season. That conference is evolving at the top just a little bit as well. I'm kind of curious to see how they'll respond to a run like this. Sometimes this can spark a conference just a little bit. As Benedictine is wrapping up their press conferences, looks like St. Thomas has their people going in now.
And John Tower getting congratulated and congratulating Keith Munkinberg.
Guys, nice coaches here. They all seem to be very friendly with one another. Very impressed with the effort, to say the least, from everybody here. We were just looking off camera to see what may be playing out, but a nice moment there between Coach Munkinberg and Coach Tower. Again, we'll have a lot more coverage coming up on Hoopsville tomorrow night. We'll get a chance to interview some more people here while we're not waiting around for the most part.
Yeah, but we're not going away just yet, right?
No, not just yet. I was just going to give it a few more minutes just to see how everything kind of progressed. St. Thomas fans and players are still out on the court getting their pictures with the trophy. dancing in the confetti. They only cut one net down. We thought they'd come over and cut the other one down. They decided just one was good enough for them. Of course, second trophy. The only disadvantage of St. Thomas winning is we can't even off the banners at the top of the Salem Civic Center. We still will have one open spot there, but we will see if we can fill that another time. We will not have a first-time winner. That will still remain with Wash U back in 2008, actually.
But we will have a guest.
I see that. That's why I was kind of stalling my way through, as it looks like we'll just wait just a moment. Again, congratulations to St. Thomas on a heck of a game. And they even withstood a couple runs there by the Eagles. I mean, it's tough. It is tough to win here in Salem, to say the least. You got to do a lot, including break the tape down and have the right matchups. And I think St. Thomas found a way to have the right matchups, plain and simple, against a really good Christopher Newport squad and a really good Benedictine squad. As I see coming up onto the stadium. What do you call this thing? Stage.
Proscenium.
Is
platform.
Coach Munkinberg. You'll step in behind me, sir. You can step in between us. I appreciate you.
First of all, yes, we thank you joining us live here.
Thank you for joining us.
This is,
you didn't have to. Congratulate.
You guys have been great, so I really appreciate everything you've done for us this year. And our program hasn't had a lot of publicity in the last few years, and what you guys do is phenomenal, and the time that you guys put in is unreal. So we really appreciate it. I know our players appreciate it. I know Division III appreciates it.
Well,
so
thanks
a lot.
You told me in pregame, if you guys lost, you weren't hanging your heads. Losing hurts, especially when you get this far. Still hard not to hang your head, though?
This group is phenomenal. They got to walk out with their heads held high. We battled the whole game. Our kids, we were down, 8-10 with 4 or 5 minutes to go or 6 minutes to go. We could have packed it in.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't. I think we ended up cutting it to 2 with about a little over a minute to go. We're right there. We got an opportunity to get a stop and maybe make a play. And this group has been fighting all year. No matter what the circumstance, no matter what the situation, they have been unreal. I couldn't be more proud of this group of men than I am tonight.
It was certainly an impressive run just to get here in the first place. But, you guys battled in this game. You didn't have – really, you battled this weekend. You guys didn't play your best here. You can go through all the reasons of that. Mm-hmm. But what does it mean to you to even have a chance at the end, to be within a couple possessions in the end after the season you guys have gone through?
Like you said, maybe we didn't play our best basketball or as good as we could. But, credit to the other teams. I mean, Amherst and St. Thomas are really good. And so they did things to kind of take some things away from us a little bit. The experience for this weekend, these guys are going to have memories for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And so, losing, I told them when they get older and they're telling stories to their grandkids, everything's going to be, that one play. Remember when that one play I went up for a dunk and, we only had one dunk, we were Luke, but we'll probably have 7 or 8 dunks by the end, by the time these guys get older. But these guys, it's hard. You do have an undefeated season going in. You'd like to finish it off. You'd like to finish it off with another win, and you're in the national title game. Let's win it. We talked about that. Let's go after it. And you never know what you're going to come back when you're going to come back. This is hard, guys. This is a hard place to get
here?
to.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. This is hard. And so what these guys have done, look at it. During the course of the season, we knew people didn't know who we were. How good are they? All right, they've beaten some CCIW schools. They've won some games in their league, but how good is this team? And so we've proven we're really good.
Yeah, you did.
We have a lot of talent. We played some of the best teams in the country, and this program's come a long way. And so I'm really happy for our kids, and great support here too for the weekend.
Great fan support.
Great fan support. I thank those guys and our students for driving 10 hours, and our administration for coming out. I mean, it's just it's been a great ride.
Yeah, let me ask about that too, because obviously, as you said, great fan support here. A lot of people showed up in Salem. What does that do for the program going forward? You have so much more visibility, not just in Division III, but on your own campus, and sometimes in D3 that's hard to come by.
It is, let's keep it going. We have to do things as a staff and as a school to make sure we continue to support our programs, which we've done across the board. We've made a name for ourselves this weekend as maybe a team that can compete on a national level, and that's what we want. We've won a lot of conference titles and conference tournaments over the 20 years I've been there, but we really haven't done it on a national level. And now we've gotten there. So we get into somebody's living room or we go see a kid at a game, we say, hey, we can compete at a national level. Come play for us. Look at the games. Look at the support we've got. Look at the people that come to our game. Look at how many people are here. The atmosphere, all that we can sell.
Yeah.
We got a responsibility now to do that, to take us, to continue to take us on a national level. And that's my job to do that. Our coaching staff to do that. We'll see what the future holds here.
Luke Johnson, let's talk about him. Named Player of the Year by D3Hoops.com at the end of the game. Didn't know if you knew that. That's why I wanted to slide that one in.
Somebody told me in the media room.
Had a monster dunk, had a couple huge three-pointers, almost put this team on his back. At the same time, he was still unselfish.
Yeah, big players play well in big games. He did that tonight. And you guys watched him. You've watched him play Dave a couple times, and Pat, you watched him tonight. I mean, he doesn't get flustered. You know what I mean? He's not like he's not out there rah-rahing, getting really, in big situations, he can handle those. And he just epitomizes of the unselfishness, because I really feel he's a kid that can take over a game, maybe score 25, score 30 a game, but he gives it up. He gets other people involved. And he's done that all year. Tonight too. He's our third leader in assists.
Yeah.
He's 6'9".
Yep.
I call him your point guard.
Yeah, right. And so, we may never get a player like him again at our level or at Division III. He's just a special kid. What a great game for him tonight. Yeah, he strapped it on and almost carried us to the win. And that dunk, I just felt momentum was going our way. It was going our way.
It was.
And I thought St. Thomas was on our heels, and our kids were just where we were there, and again, we just couldn't make some plays down the stretch.
Before I let you go, if you don't mind me asking, what was the message to the team in the locker room?
It was emotional. A lot of kids crying. You work so hard.
Yeah.
And we talked about it before the game. This didn't start October 15th. This started after our season last year. We started working hard after our last game last year. I just told them to be proud of what they've accomplished, the people that they've touched, the fans that have come out to this game, the people that have come to our games in the last 2 months, the experience that they've given our students.
That's true.
It's phenomenal, and so that's never going to be taken away from them. Just because we lost tonight doesn't take away our season, who we are. Walk out with your heads high and thank people that have helped us get here.
Yeah.
And really be appreciative. And so it was tough. Those are always tough, but to be that close, right? To be that close.
On the doorstep.
Yep, on the doorstep of winning a national title. You start thinking about every possession, every play, but I'm not going to think about it right now. I'm going to try and just
get some sleep.
Yeah, get some sleep.
You haven't slept in a while.
No, I haven't. But what a group! What a group! Talent, unselfish, just wanted to win, and it was really fun to coach them, and I'm privileged to have those guys part of our program.
As always, I always give the final word to the guest. I don't know if you have any final thoughts left after that one, but I do leave you the door.
Well, thanks to you guys. Really appreciate, again, what you guys have done. Thanks to our school, our administration, our staff, our students, all the people that have supported us throughout the year. Hopefully they'll come out and continue to support us. Hope we can continue to have a really good product. Our coaching staff, Matt Jones, Frank Janzak, Joe Fano, what a great job they did. As a staff, we we really feel that we had a special group, and we wanted to put them in a position to have success, and they did that, and a big part of who we are and what we do. So really proud of our team, proud of our kids. I hope they walk out of here really proud of what they've done, and it's going to hurt for a little bit, but they're a phenomenal group, and I'm just really appreciative of those kids.
Well, congratulations on yet an amazing season.
It's not over yet. Dave.
Oh,
not over, right?
retiring.
Am I retiring?
Dave's retiring.
I just made it.
I'm retiring. You can't retire.
Wait a minute.
Sorry about
I didn't want to make that announcement just yet.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. Breaking news here on Hoopsville Postgame.
I have to go tweet. Sorry.
No, congratulations on a terrific season. Congratulations on making it here and hard-fought championship game. I know it'll probably reap benefits down the road, and I know it's going to be tough, but congratulations.
Thanks,
on
Dave.
Thanks for coming on the show, too.
Yeah, no problem.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet.
Keith Munkinberg joining us here. Chuck, really, as I've gotten to know him. Yeah, as I've gotten to know him. The Bunkenberger, too, right. Thanks for coming on the show. Yeah, you can tell, very emotional.
Yeah.
It is tough. I mean, you cannot get here and not be emotional to fall short. They will hang their head a little bit right now, but they will eventually raise that head up because, darn, they were a good team.
They're all standing over here behind us as Coach has been talking, and it's a solemn group. You know, they're
as they should be.
They're eating their post-game meal with paper plates and pizza.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully just eating the pizza and not the plates.
Wow, if they're eating the plate, we got to talk.
I don't know. It could be the best plate ever. I can tell you, in terms of equal time, we're not going to be able to get St. Thomas here on this post-game show.
We will get them for the Hoopsville Postgame.
Yeah, exactly. Dave has lots of other coverage to come. So I think we're not going to do any better than we did right there.
No, I think we should end on a high note. So on that note, I'm gonna turn it to you, since technically this is your last Salem as editor-in-chief at D3Hoops.com. I have a feeling we may drag Pat down to a few more Salem. Of course, he'll come here for football right over there. But in the meantime, your thoughts on what was a pretty darn good championship weekend, but your thoughts as you take a big load off your shoulders.
Oh, that'll be nice.
Coming to Gordon and
yeah, we're coming to you in 3, 2. 13 points separated these teams this weekend in the grand total of 3 games. What an amazing weekend of basketball we just had. I couldn't have asked for a better way to end a season because it has just been phenomenal. For St. Thomas, a program that we have seen. Up until 5 years ago, that was a program that had underachieved in men's basketball a lot. We talked about the Tommies in 2009, right, being the last team that got even to the round of 8, unbeaten, and they
couldn't get it done.
Exactly. Obviously bracket of death and all that.
But, that was a whole nother case.
But nonetheless, and then even last year, obviously significantly underachieved by losing in the first round.
Number 1 team when they got to Salem,
and they lost a 12-point lead in the final 4-some minutes or whatever. It's good to see. It's good to see that happen, and obviously for me, I know a lot of people there because I'm there a lot. You always like to see good people win. Quality people who work hard. Get an opportunity to be victorious. So, that's really cool. Obviously, Benedictine certainly would have filled that bill as well, and there wasn't anybody here this year who wouldn't fill that bill. So, it's nice to know that Division III goes out for the season on a high note, and people who embody Division III, not just discover, develop, and dedicate, but all of the things that we stand for in Division III: the well-rounded student athlete, the whole person, right, and all of that. That really played out here this season, this tournament, and I love it as a guy who is, I guess, essentially born and bred Division III. It's nice to see this is the way the season ends. Yeah, it was a terrific season. It really was. We'll have plenty more to talk about it tomorrow night on Hoopsville, but. This was the weekend I was hoping for, and you do fear that those hopes are going to be completely wrong. It's happened before when you think you're going to get a good weekend, and you get a dud or 2 of games. We didn't get any duds. These were hard-fought games. The fans were outstanding. Salem, once again, tip of the hat. You do it right in Division III. There's a reason these guys host it. The NCAA I know likes it, but I also know they push Salem sometimes. I hope they don't push them too much, but these guys did an outstanding job. Congratulations to St. Thomas.
on winning the men's basketball championship. Oh, by the way, we're not done with championships. We're going to have to wait 16 days before we finally finish this season. We'll talk about more of the women's on the Hoopsville show on Sunday night as well, but we have a title to crown in 16 days in Indianapolis. But from that note, we're going to wrap up our post-game coverage here from Salem. They are still milling about on the Salem Civic Center floor, which you would expect. We will have a lot to talk about on Hoopsville. Pat and I will probably do one more segment just to kind of, maybe just take what I had here and just re-air that. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Go for it.
We'll also we'll re-air that interview we had with Coach Munkinberg, and on top of that, we'll try and talk to some of the Tommies on winning a championship, including Coach Tower. That'll all come up on Hoopsville at 7 o'clock. While I haven't done a lot of tweeting here this weekend due to just being a little too tad bit busy, we will be tweeting our schedule and information. You can find us on Twitter at D3Hoops or using the hashtag Hoopsville. Of course, you can follow all Division III news at D3Hoops using the hashtag D3H or go to D3Hoops.com. Going to sign off from Salem. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you taking the time to enjoy our shows as well. And on that note, thank you very much. And enjoy the championship, St. Thomas. We'll look forward to crowning a women's champion in 16 days. In the meantime, we'll see you back on the air. 7 o'clock Eastern Time, Hoopsville, tomorrow night.